Welcome, esteemed viewers, to a remarkable odyssey that will transport us to the very precipices of our world, to realms where the air is thin and the horizons stretch into infinity. We embark on an exploration of Earth's highest communities, settlements perched precariously amongst the clouds, where human life endures against formidable odds. These are places where the ordinary becomes extraordinary, where survival itself is a testament to an unyielding spirit. Join us as we ascend to these lofty domains, to witness firsthand the tenacity of life in its most elevated and challenging expressions across our diverse planet. Today, our journey focuses on the unique tapestry of lifestyles woven by those who call these elevated places home, individuals and communities that have, over generations, or through sheer necessity, adapted to conditions that would daunt the vast majority of humankind. We shall delve into their daily routines, their cultural traditions, and the ingenious strategies they employ to thrive where oxygen is scarce and the elements reign supreme. It is a story of resilience, of adaptation, and of an intimate, often challenging relationship between humanity and the formidable mountain environments that cradle these extraordinary high-altitude settlements. Prepare to be captivated by breathtaking landscapes, vistas of unparalleled majesty that unfold from these eagle's nest communities. Here, the earth reveals its raw, untamed beauty, with snow-capped peaks piercing the azure sky, and vast, sweeping plateaus that seem to touch the heavens themselves. These are not merely backdrops to human existence, they are integral, shaping forces, influencing every facet of life from sustenance to spirituality. The sheer scale and grandeur of these environments evoke a profound sense of awe, reminding us of nature's power and the delicate balance humans must strike. Our exploration will illuminate the profound human capacity for endurance, for innovation, and for finding solace and society in the most extreme corners of our planet. We will witness how cultures have blossomed in these isolated areas, how traditions have been forged in the crucible of high-altitude existence, and how the human spirit, in its relentless pursuit of life, has managed to carve out a home amongst the silent, watchful giants of the earth. This is a narrative of courage, of community, and of the enduring human connection to even the most inhospitable, yet magnificent, terrains. Our first destination takes us to the Peruvian Andes, to a place that defies conventional notions of human habitation. This is La Rinconada, a name that whispers of isolation and extreme altitude. Nestled at a staggering 5,100 meters or nearly 16,700 feet above the level of the sea, it holds the extraordinary and perhaps unenviable title of the highest permanent human settlement on the entire planet Earth. Here, life unfolds at an altitude where most would struggle even to breathe, let alone to build a community, a life, a future, amongst the icy peaks that scrape the very roof of the world, a truly remarkable feat. Imagine a town clinging to the side of a glacier, Mount Ananea, its icy breath a constant companion to the inhabitants below. This is the reality for the thousands who call La Rinconada home. It is a settlement born not of ancient tradition or pastoral necessity, but of a more modern and perhaps more perilous allure. The very air here is a challenge, containing only about half the oxygen found at sea level, a stark reminder of the physiological demands placed upon every man, woman, and child who resides in this thin, unforgiving atmosphere, a place of stark and brutal beauty. The environment surrounding La Rinconada is one of extreme austerity. Temperatures frequently plummet far below freezing, and the biting winds sweep across the desolate landscape with relentless ferocity, carrying with them the chill of the high Andes. Vegetation is sparse, almost non-existent at these heights, offering little comfort or sustenance. The sun, when it shines, can be intensely strong due to the thin atmospheric shield, yet it provides little warmth against the pervasive cold. It is a realm sculpted by ice and rock, a truly elemental world where the forces of nature are an ever-present dominant force. What then draws human beings to such an inhospitable frontier, to establish a permanent foothold in a place seemingly designed to repel them? The answer lies buried deep within the frozen earth, a glittering promise that has lured hopeful souls for decades: gold. La Rinconada is, at its heart, a gold rush town, a place where dreams of fortune are pursued against a backdrop of incredible hardship. This precious metal is the lifeblood, the very reason for this extraordinary settlement's existence, a siren call echoing through the desolate peaks, attracting those willing to gamble everything. For the inhabitants of La Rinconada, life is a constant negotiation with the extreme altitude. The human body struggles profoundly here. Hypoxia is a persistent threat, leading to health issues. Each breath is a conscious act in the thin, cold air. Children may develop larger lung capacities. The daily struggles extend beyond the physiological. La Rinconada has little formal infrastructure. Sanitation is rudimentary, with raw sewage often flowing through the streets. Clean drinking water is scarce and often contaminated. Electricity is unreliable, and heating homes is a constant challenge. Basic amenities are luxuries here. The settlement presents a chaotic spectacle. Corrugated tin shacks cling to the mountainside. Everything feels temporary, despite its designation as a permanent settlement. The streets are often rivers of mud or ice. Yet, amidst this disarray, a community endures. The people display extraordinary resilience. They have developed ways to cope with the lack of basic services. Social bonds are strong, born of mutual dependence. Children play amidst the stark surroundings, a reminder of life's persistent ability to find purchase. This is human tenacity personified. The engine driving La Rinconada's existence is the relentless pursuit of gold, extracted from the frozen heart of Mount Ananea. The mining operations here are largely informal, often dangerous, and operate under a peculiar archaic system known as cacareo. Under this arrangement, miners toil for 30 days without direct payment, a grueling month of hard labor. Then, on the 31st day, they are permitted to carry out as much ore as they can physically manage, hoping that this single load will contain enough precious metal to sustain them. It is a system fraught with uncertainty, a gamble where the odds are often stacked heavily against the individual worker, a true test of fortune. The working conditions within these high-altitude mines are nothing short of perilous. Tunnels are often unstable, poorly ventilated, and lacking in basic safety measures. Miners, frequently using rudimentary tools and with little protective equipment, face the constant risk of cave-ins, explosions from dynamite used to blast rock, and exposure to toxic substances like mercury, which is commonly used in the rudimentary gold extraction process. The thin air exacerbates the physical strain of manual labor, pushing bodies to their absolute limits day after grueling day. Many suffer from silicosis, a debilitating lung disease caused by inhaling rock dust, a tragic consequence of their arduous toil in pursuit of a livelihood. The environmental impact of these mining activities on the fragile alpine ecosystem is severe and deeply concerning. The unregulated use of mercury contaminates the soil and water sources, poisoning the landscape for generations to come, with devastating effects on any downstream communities and wildlife. Glacial meltwater, crucial for the region, becomes polluted. The mountainsides are scarred by mining shafts and a vast accumulation of discarded rock and waste, transforming a once pristine environment into an industrial wasteland. The quest for subterranean riches leaves indelible wounds upon the surface of this ancient land, a stark reminder of the cost of human ambition in such delicate zones. Yet despite the dangers, the hardships, and the environmental degradation, the powerful lure of gold continues to draw thousands to La Rinconada. It is a potent symbol of hope, however faint, for a better life, a chance to escape poverty, even if it means risking life and limb in the process. This enduring human drama, played out at over 5,000 meters, speaks volumes about desperation, about aspiration, and about the extraordinary lengths to which people will go when driven by the promise of treasure. La Rinconada remains a stark, compelling monument to this timeless and often tragic quest for El Dorado, the mythical city of gold. The engine driving La Rinconada's existence is the relentless pursuit of gold, extracted from the frozen heart of Mount Ananea. The mining operations here are largely informal, often dangerous, and operate under a peculiar archaic system known as cacareo. Under this arrangement, miners toil for 30 days without direct payment, a grueling month of hard labor. Then, on the 31st day, they are permitted to carry out as much ore as they can physically manage, hoping that this single load will contain enough precious metal to sustain them. It is a system fraught with uncertainty, a gamble where the odds are often stacked heavily against the individual worker, a true test of fortune. The working conditions within these high-altitude mines are nothing short of perilous. Tunnels are often unstable, poorly ventilated, and lacking in basic safety measures. Miners, frequently using rudimentary tools and with little protective equipment, face the constant risk of cave-ins, explosions from dynamite used to blast rock, and exposure to toxic substances like mercury, which is commonly used in the rudimentary gold extraction process. The thin air exacerbates the physical strain of manual labor, pushing bodies to their absolute limits day after grueling day. Many suffer from silicosis, a debilitating lung disease caused by inhaling rock dust, a tragic consequence of their arduous toil in pursuit of a livelihood. The environmental impact of these mining activities on the fragile alpine ecosystem is severe and deeply concerning. The unregulated use of mercury contaminates the soil and water sources, poisoning the landscape for generations to come, with devastating effects on any downstream communities and wildlife. Glacial meltwater, crucial for the region, becomes polluted. The mountainsides are scarred by mining shafts and a vast accumulation of discarded rock and waste, transforming a once pristine environment into an industrial wasteland. The quest for subterranean riches leaves indelible wounds upon the surface of this ancient land, a stark reminder of the cost of human ambition in such delicate zones. Yet despite the dangers, the hardships and the environmental degradation, the powerful lure of gold continues to draw thousands to La Rinconada. It is a potent symbol of hope, however faint, for a better life, a chance to escape poverty, even if it means risking life and limb in the process. This enduring human drama, played out at over 5,000 meters, speaks volumes about desperation, about aspiration, and about the extraordinary lengths to which people will go when driven by the promise of treasure. La Rinconada remains a stark, compelling monument to this timeless and often tragic quest for El Dorado, the mythical city of gold. The engine driving La Rinconada's existence is the relentless pursuit of gold, extracted from the frozen heart of Mount Anania. The mining operations here are largely informal, often dangerous, and operate under a peculiar archaic system known as cacareo. Under this arrangement, miners toil for 30 days without direct payment, a grueling month of hard labor. Then, on the 31st day, they are permitted to carry out as much ore as they can physically manage, hoping that this single load will contain enough precious metal to sustain them. It is a system fraught with uncertainty, a gamble where the odds are often stacked heavily against the individual worker, a true test of fortune. The working conditions within these high-altitude mines are nothing short of perilous. Tunnels are often unstable, poorly ventilated, and lacking in basic safety measures. Miners, frequently using rudimentary tools and with little protective equipment, face the constant risk of cave-ins, explosions from dynamite used to blast rock, and exposure to toxic substances like mercury, which is commonly used in the rudimentary gold extraction process. The thin air exacerbates the physical strain of manual labor, pushing bodies to their absolute limits day after grueling day. Many suffer from silicosis, a debilitating lung disease caused by inhaling rock dust, a tragic consequence of their arduous toil in pursuit of a livelihood. The environmental impact of these mining activities on the fragile alpine ecosystem is severe and deeply concerning. The unregulated use of mercury contaminates the Our journey now descends slightly, though we remain firmly in the realm of high-altitude giants, as we arrive in El Alto, Bolivia. This sprawling city, whose name aptly translates to the heights, is perched dramatically on the Altiplano, the high Andean plateau. It stands as a vast urban expanse, gazing down upon its sister city, La Paz. El Alto is a city of striking contrasts, where urban dynamism meets the timeless grandeur of the Andes. Once a mere satellite settlement, El Alto has experienced an astonishing surge in population and development. It has transformed into a vibrant, bustling metropolis, now one of Bolivia's largest urban centers. This rapid growth has been fueled by migration from rural areas. The city spreads across the stark, windswept plains, a testament to relentless human expansion. The cityscape of El Alto presents a unique spectacle, set against the magnificent peaks of the Cordillera Real. On a clear day, the majestic Mount Illimani dominates the horizon. The vast open skies of the Altiplano lend an extraordinary sense of space and light to the city. El Alto proudly holds the distinction of being one of the highest major cities on Earth. Its international airport serves as a critical gateway to Bolivia. The city's very existence is a remarkable feat of urban planning in a challenging environment. It is a place where the pulse of modern life beats strong, high above the clouds. El Alto, a city of impressive altitude, is a vibrant crucible of Aymara culture, where ancient traditions meet modern life. The Aymara language, customs, and spiritual practices shape the city's unique identity. Markets like Feria 16 de Julio are the heart of El Alto's commercial life. Here, ancient traditions and modern urban life engage in a fascinating dance. El Alto is a compelling example of cultural vitality and adaptation. The daily life in El Alto is characterized by a remarkable energy and dynamism. The city exudes a sense of purpose and vitality. The people of El Alto, known as Alteños, are renowned for their hard work and resilience. El Alto is also home to unique cultural expressions like Cholita wrestling. Aymara women in traditional attire engage in theatrical wrestling matches. Despite challenges, the enduring spirit of El Alto shines through. El Alto stands as a powerful symbol of human resilience and urban dynamism. Our journey now takes us eastward across the vast, rugged spine of Asia to the Indian Himalayas. Here, nestled deep within the Indus River Valley, lies the ancient town of Leh. At an elevation of some 3,500 meters above the sea, it is a place of breathtaking, stark beauty. The air is thin, the sunlight intense, and life here unfolds at a rhythm dictated by the extreme forces of nature. For centuries, this remote outpost has been a vital stop on ancient trade routes, a crossroads of cultures. The primary ever-present challenge for the inhabitants of Leh is, undoubtedly, the climate. Winters are long, unforgiving, and intensely cold, with temperatures frequently plummeting to -20 degrees Celsius. The land becomes frozen, locked in an icy grip for many months. Then, a brief, intense summer arrives, bringing with it a surge of meltwater and a fleeting window for growth. This dramatic swing between extremes shapes every facet of existence, from the design of their homes to the very crops they can cultivate. The people here have learned to read the subtle cues of the changing seasons, a skill honed over countless generations. Water, the very essence of life, is a resource of immense preciousness in this arid landscape. The Indus River, a mighty artery, flows through the valley, yet much of the agricultural land depends on the seasonal bounty of glacial meltwater. These frozen reservoirs, perched high in the mountains, release their life-sustaining liquid during the warmer months. However, this supply is not always predictable. The timing and volume can vary, influenced by winter snowfall and, increasingly, by the broader patterns of a changing global climate. To harness this fleeting resource requires remarkable ingenuity and a deep understanding of the local hydrology, a dance between human need and nature's provision. And then, there is the air itself, thin, rarefied, holding significantly less oxygen than at lower altitudes. For the unacclimatized visitor, even simple exertion can lead to breathlessness and fatigue. The Ladakhi people indigenous to this region have, over millennia, developed remarkable physiological adaptations. Their bodies are more efficient at utilizing the available oxygen, a biological legacy passed down through generations. Yet even for them, the high altitude exerts a constant subtle pressure, a reminder of the extreme conditions under which they not only survive, but have carved out a vibrant and enduring culture. It is a silent challenge, woven into the fabric of daily life. As autumn yields to winter, a profound transformation sweeps across the Leh Valley. The days shorten dramatically, and the sun offers little warmth against the encroaching cold. Snow cloaks the higher peaks, gradually enveloping the town and its villages. The landscape becomes a stark, monochromatic world of white and gray. Roads often become impassable, blocked by deep drifts and hazardous ice. Communities find themselves isolated, relying on their own resources and resilience. The struggle for warmth becomes a central preoccupation during these harsh months. Traditional Ladakhi homes are designed to conserve precious heat. Yet, fuel is a scarce commodity. Firewood is limited in this high-altitude desert. Families rely heavily on argal, dried animal dung. This, along with hardy shrubs, provides the primary source of energy for cooking and heating. Food, too, becomes a carefully managed resource. The short summer growing season means that self-sufficiency through the long winter depends entirely on what can be harvested and preserved. Barley, a staple crop, is ground into sampa, a roasted flour that forms a cornerstone of the Ladakhi diet. Vegetables, such as turnips, potatoes, and leafy greens, are meticulously dried in the intense summer sun. Even meat, when available, is often dried or frozen naturally in the frigid air. This ancient knowledge of food preservation is not merely a tradition, but a vital survival skill. The livestock, yaks, goats, and sheep, which are so crucial to the Ladakhi way of life, also face the severe trial of winter. These hardy animals provide milk, wool, meat, and transport, but they too require shelter and sustenance. Families must ensure they have gathered enough fodder to see their animals through the long, lean period. This adds another significant burden to their winter preparations, as the well-being of their livestock is inextricably linked to their own survival and prosperity in this challenging land. The remarkable resilience and ingenuity of Lhasa people shine through their deep sense of community and interdependence. Cooperation is essential, from maintaining irrigation channels to assisting neighbors. Agricultural practices here are a masterclass in adaptation. The traditional Cool's irrigation system diverts meltwater to terraced fields. Resource management in Leh is guided by a philosophy of no waste. The modern world brings both opportunities and challenges. The enduring spirit of Leh now confronts the task of adapting to a rapidly transforming world. Here, nestled within the protective embrace of the vast Himalayan mountain ranges, lies the city of Lhasa. At an elevation of 3,656 meters, it stands as one of the highest urban centers on Earth, a testament to human adaptation and enduring faith. The very air here is crisp, thin, carrying with it the whispers of ancient chants and the palpable aura of devotion that permeates this sacred valley. For countless generations, Lhasa has served as the spiritual heart of Tibet, a beacon drawing pilgrims from across the vast, unforgiving plateau dominating the skyline. An architectural marvel of breathtaking scale and artistry stands the Potala Palace. It rises, seemingly from the red hill itself, a colossal structure that appears more like a natural mountain than a man-made edifice, its white and ochre walls reaching towards the heavens. For centuries, this was the chief residence of the Dalai Lamas, the spiritual leaders of Tibetan Buddhism, serving as the seat of governance, and a monumental symbol of their authority and compassion. Its construction, a feat of extraordinary engineering and dedication, began in the 17th century, built upon the foundations of an even earlier fortress, each stone and timber imbued with history and sacred intent, a palace truly fit for a living Buddha. The very construction of this immense sanctuary at such a challenging altitude speaks volumes of the ingenuity and unwavering resolve of the Tibetan people. Imagine the Herculean effort required to transport massive timbers and countless tons of stone up these steep slopes, all accomplished with rudimentary tools and sheer human power driven by an unshakable collective faith. The palace itself, a complex of over 1,000 rooms, myriad chapels and sacred stupas containing the remains of past Dalai Lamas, is a labyrinth of spiritual treasures. Its intricate murals depict sacred narratives and mandalas, while golden roofs glitter defiantly under the intense high-altitude sun, reflecting not just light, but the enduring spirit of a culture deeply intertwined with its lofty domain. Today, the Potala Palace stands as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a museum preserving the rich cultural and religious heritage of Tibet, yet it remains far more than a mere historical monument. For Tibetan people both within Tibet and across the diaspora, it is an enduring symbol of their identity, their faith and their history, a poignant reminder of a unique spiritual civilization that flourished in this isolated rooftop of the world. Its silent, imposing presence continues to watch over Lhasa, a steadfast guardian of traditions passed down through generations, its silhouette against the backdrop of snow-capped peaks. An iconic image of spiritual resilience in the face of immense natural and historical forces, a true jewel of human achievement. At the heart of Lhasa's old city lies the Jokhang Temple, the most sacred in Tibet. Founded in the 7th century, it is a living repository of faith. The architecture blends Indian, Chinese, and Nepalese styles. Barkhor Street encircles the temple, a vibrant, sacred path. Pilgrims prostrate and spin prayer wheels, immersed in devotion. The air is thick with incense, blending the sacred and secular. Barkhor Street is a microcosm of Tibetan life, a vivid tapestry of faith and culture. Beyond its sacred temples, Lhasa is cradled within a breathtaking landscape. The Lhasa River, or Ki Chu, meanders gracefully through the valley. Its waters from the Nyenchen Tanglha glaciers bring life to this high-altitude oasis. Fertile lands along its banks provide sustenance, a splash of green against arid slopes. This river shapes the valley's environment and agricultural practices. The valley is enclosed by towering, often snow-dusted mountain ranges. These mountains, part of the Himalayas, are sacred abodes of deities and spirits. Their rugged slopes and deep ravines remind of nature's grandeur. The unique ecosystem supports resilient flora and fauna. Hardy shrubs and vibrant alpine flowers burst into color in summer. Birdwatchers may spot the Tibetan snowcock or Himalayan griffon vulture. The light in the Lhasa Valley is extraordinary, sharpening every detail. Sunlight and shadow create a constantly shifting panorama. The grandeur fosters a contemplative spirit and deep connection to nature. We journey now to the Bolivian Andes, to Potosi, once one of the wealthiest cities on earth. Thanks to Cerro Rico, a mountain rich in silver but also in human suffering. The mountain that eats men. The immense wealth from Cerro Rico transformed Potosi into a city of dazzling colonial splendor. Its opulence contrasted with brutal mining conditions. Today, Potosi is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Grand mansions and ornate churches tell of its past. The Casa Nacional de la Moneda minted the famous pieces of 8. Yet, the wealth was concentrated among a few, while miners lived in poverty. Walking through Potosi today, one feels echoes of its dramatic past. Even now, centuries after its initial boom, the great Cerro Rico continues to be mined, though the richest veins of silver were exhausted long ago. Today, the work is largely carried out by independent mining cooperatives, groups of men, and sometimes even boys, who venture into the mountain's labyrinthine tunnels in search of tin, zinc, lead, and what little silver remains. The scale of operations is vastly different from the industrial might of the colonial era, yet the dangers faced by these contemporary miners, the mineros, remain terrifyingly similar, a daily gamble with life itself in pursuit of a meager livelihood. The conditions inside the active mine shafts of Cerro Rico are often primitive and exceptionally hazardous. Miners work in narrow, poorly ventilated tunnels, sometimes hundreds of meters deep, using rudimentary tools, dynamite, and sheer physical exertion. The risk of cave-ins is ever present, the mountain groaning under the strain of centuries of excavation. Dust, thick with silica particles, fills the air, leading to silicosis, a debilitating and often fatal lung disease that cuts short the lives of many who toil within. Safety equipment is minimal, often consisting of little more than a hard hat and a headlamp, a stark reality in this high-altitude workplace. Deep within the oppressive darkness of the mines, a unique and syncretic belief system persists. Miners pay homage to LTO, a figure often depicted as a devilish character, believed to be the guardian and owner of the mountain's mineral wealth. Small shrines to LTO are found throughout the tunnels where miners leave offerings of coca leaves, cigarettes, and alcohol, seeking his permission to extract ore and, crucially, his protection from the myriad dangers that lurk within the earth. This blend of indigenous Andean beliefs and imposed colonial religion reflects a pragmatic approach to survival in an environment where death is a constant companion. The socio-economic reality for Potosi and its miners remains challenging. The city's economy is still heavily reliant on this dangerous and diminishing resource, trapping many families in a cycle of poverty. The environmental legacy of centuries of intensive mining is also stark, with concerns about land stability and water contamination. The future of Potosi is uncertain as it grapples with its monumental past, the present-day struggles of its people, and the pressing need to find sustainable alternatives in this extraordinary, yet unforgiving high-altitude landscape, a city forever defined by the colossal, mineral-rich mountain that looms above it. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey, an exploration of human life pushed to its vertical limits, to the very rooftop of our world. We have traversed continents, from the gold rush fever of La Rinconada to the spiritual serenity of Lhasa, from the vibrant markets of El Alto to the historical depths of Potosi and the stark beauty of Leh. In each of these remarkable high-altitude communities we have witnessed not just survival, but an extraordinary tapestry of human resilience, ingenious adaptation, and the flourishing of unique cultures profoundly shaped by their extreme and often unforgiving environments. It is a testament to the indomitable spirit that defines our species. The common thread weaving through these diverse settlements is the remarkable capacity of humankind to not only endure but to thrive in conditions that would seem, to many, utterly inhospitable. The thinner air, the biting cold, the challenges of cultivating land and sourcing resources, all these formidable obstacles have been met with courage, innovation, and a deep connection to the landscapes that cradle these communities. We have seen how faith can elevate the human spirit, how ancient traditions provide solace and strength, and how communities band together to face the shared realities of life at such breathtaking and demanding elevations on our planet. These high-altitude cities and settlements offer us profound lessons. They teach us about the sheer tenacity of life, about the incredible diversity of human culture, and about our species' intricate and often delicate relationship with the planet's most formidable terrains. They remind us that the Earth's surface is not uniform, and that in its most challenging corners, humanity has carved out niches, creating vibrant societies that enrich our collective understanding of what it means to be human. Appreciating these unique ways of life, understanding their struggles and their triumphs, is more important now than ever before, as we all face a changing world. We hope this exploration has broadened your horizons and deepened your appreciation for the extraordinary people who call these lofty places home. The world is full of such wonders, of stories waiting to be told, of lives unfolding in the most unexpected of settings. Don't forget to like, comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more amazing content as we continue to explore the marvels of our shared planet. There is always more to discover, more to understand about the rich